Hello everyone, welcome to Footy Classified. What a big week it has been in football and what a massive show we've got ahead for you tonight. Thanks to Hyundai and Fiji Airways. Welcome the panel tonight, including Twomey from AFL.com. Kel's got a beauty right off the top we're going to get to. Big news for the St Kilda Football Club. Rory Sloane. Rory, looking forward to your input, particularly at Coach's Corner as we get to the pointy end of proceedings. And of course, Essendon's James Hird. Well, hopefully you're Essendon's James Hird by next week, because we're at the pointy end of proceedings at Windy Hill, or the hangar, wherever
it looks that way.
Land these days.
Yes.
So I understand that Dean Solomon will make his decision, Kel, in the next couple of days whether he stands for the position. We know that Mark McGuire has been interviewed, and you've been interviewed.
Well, by Kevin Muscat.
So yeah. Kevin Muscat.
Yeah, it was an interesting discussion with Kevin. Yeah, we talked about his 4-3-4 formation at the back, where he should play three defenders. I just think his goalkeeper needs to play out more from the back rather than kicking it long. So, unfortunately, the advice I gave him, they lost. Yeah. Shanghai Port lost. So
I've got to coach on this. You gave him the advice, he didn't take it, and they lost.
Exactly.
Which proves that you are the master coach. Okay?
Exactly.
So if you don't get to the hangar, we'll send you up to Shanghai.
Shanghai Port. Okay, very good.
But seriously, so you were interviewed though by...
Yeah, I had a good chat to he and John, and it was good. Good chat.
Okay, so without delving too far into it, what's next? When do you...
I get to present to the full panel later in the week.
Okay, good. We'll leave it at that, and good luck with what you're doing.
Thank you.
And the other people involved. All right, let's get straight into it. I want to go to you, Cal Twomey. Max King is the missing link for the St Kilda Football Club. We know he's had a horrible run. He did his hamstring the other day, but he's had further developments.
Yeah, there are tonight, Eddie. So we can say that in recent days, Max King has undergone hamstring surgery. So the latest we knew about this injury out of that game against North Melbourne was that it was a hamstring strain, guys. But the developments tonight is we can reveal that he's undergone surgery in recent days to fix up that issue. The Saints are confident that King will resume training on day one of their pre-season and be able to complete an off-season program as well, with the choice of surgery now as part of a reassurance, I guess you'd call it, as part of this next part of his rehabilitation. But it's doubtless to say that this guy's had so much bad luck on the injury front. This is the solution from him. This is some of the injury history, of course, dating back to 2023 when he had a shoulder reconstruction. We know he missed all of 2020-25 after that knee injury in 2024. And this year was just the first AFL game back in more than 2 years. So a major setback a couple of weeks ago.
Could you call it an AFL game, or was it just a little taste tester, Hirdy, of like maybe to keep his appetite wet for next year?
And Rory, when these hamstring injuries, if the tendon injuries, obviously the surgery that happens, and it's quite regular that happens. But you were saying it's probably not tendon, or they've been told it's not tendon?
The Saints are confident that it's not that element that he's gone through this, and they still say that it won't change in terms of when he's actually due back in the pre-season. But the reality is you've gone under surgery for your hamstring,
can, but when you do multiple hamstring injuries, you can get a bit of scar tissue that builds up over time. So it may just be a little tidy up of the scar tissue. Hopefully that is, because he's only played the 24 games in the last 4 years, which is not a lot of footy. And it can get to you spending that amount of time in rehab.
Yeah, and we spoke about it last week, but he's just too good a player to have out of the game, and we all want to see him play, and good luck to him. And I think he does need that pre-season, that time off to let it heal, go away from the club, be able to do a rehab that's, it's not under pressure, and do a full pre-season. Hopefully we see him play. And
get to the bottom of it. The amount of times that they've had surgery like this before and found that there was tendon issues. Darcy Moore's had the same operation. We're not sure if it was tendon related with King, but certainly with Darcy Moore. And I remember at the end of Nathan Buckley's career, they found out it was a tendon issue because they hadn't gone through. They tried everything known to mankind, including me going around and rubbing garlic on it on a Thursday night.
And that was every Thursday night too. It wasn't just once.
Yeah, don't worry, Bucks, I'll be around this week as well. But you tried everything, and then sometimes surgery is what's required. Kel, let's get into this, because Ken Hinkley and the Tasmanian team, Brendan and Gale, they've been the feel-good story so far, and we've all been worried about whether they've got the money to build their stadium. Well, they're throwing money around like there's no tomorrow at the moment, and I'm not saying this in a reckless manner. They are absolutely on top of their game, and it started today with the story that you're going to talk to us about with Nigel Lappin out of Geelong, and I'll get to one in a moment that's an exclusive tonight about Tasmania.
Yeah, so Nigel Lappin has signed up to be the head of development. Now, Ken Hinkley came with him as their number one target, and he's achieved that already in the space of 2 weeks. So he's obviously got a relationship with him dating back to their time together at Geelong, and he has been the master developer. He's knocked back so many attempts to grab him out of Geelong. Carlton, the Western Bulldogs. Tasmania actually came from him previously as their initial signing. He said no, but the signing of Ken Hinkley has meant that he's now jumped on board. And it's huge because they're going to have that many kids roll through that program over the next couple of years.
So some of the Geelong players are flat. Like that, they absolutely love Nige. He's one of the best, and you just look at some of the players that he's brought into that footy club. It's incredible, but I think there would be a sense as well because there's been a restraint on the soft cap for years, and you haven't been able to pay your assistants, and some of these development coaches that do an outstanding job. They deserve to be paid more. So I'm glad he's getting rewarded for this.
Let's have a listen to Nigel Lappin today.
I say this to the players a bit, that they've taught me much more than I've ever taught them about how to be hopefully a decent coach, but a decent human being, because they are. And I'm going to absolutely miss that. But that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to be able to go to a foundation club and get an opportunity to collaborate with the people who are already doing really good work and try and build something special, something that sort of hopefully one day can come somewhere even close to emulating what Geelong have done.
While we're on Tassie, guys, we can reveal tonight that the Devils are preparing to shake up the trade landscape with the club pitching a bold idea to rivals that will see the clubs effectively be able to buy prize draft picks off the Devils. So the Devils have approached a number of clubs I've spoken to in recent days about this concept. It would see rival clubs trade contracted players to Tasmania while continuing to pay a significant portion of those players' remaining deals. In return, the clubs would receive one of Tasmania's coveted early draft picks. So let's have a look now at the picks that Tasmania has to trade under their draft rules, Ed. So there's 4 in their first year, 5, 7, 11 and 13. In 2028, there's pick 5. 2029, there's pick 5. Those picks, Hirdy, have to be traded.
So who's an example of a player?
Yeah.
Is there an example of a player that's obvious in front of you in the AFL right now who they could do this for?
So they're dangling these picks up for grabs. So the players that I want to put up as examples, Jacob Hopper and Darcy Parish. Both players signed until the end of 2029 at their clubs. Darcy Parish has played in the VFL. Jacob Hopper might have played some more VFL had he not been injured throughout this year. If clubs where they're at in Essendon and Richmond say, we'll pay $600,000 if they're $700,000 deals, but we want to get pick 5, pick 7, then this is what Tasmania are dangling in front of clubs, and there's an appetite already from the marketplace to see how they can do that. So basically they're saying, if you can pay the money, we'll give you a top draft pick. They'll get experienced players. It's cheap labour for them over their first couple of years, and it's salary cap management for the future, because the strategy here is that they've got a lot of younger players coming in the system over the next 3 to 4 years, and they'll get huge deals straight after year 3.
So it's a reverse salary cap dump.
It's a reverse
dump. In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And what that means is they get senior players to come into their side, but also keep their salary cap pristine.
Absolutely. So for the clubs who are getting the picks, it's pick purchasing. For the Devils, it's pick selling. And they're putting the dangling the carrot here, saying, here's our picks, come and get them.
And just quickly, sorry, Rory, before I jump in, for the clubs that do that deal, they basically get rid of an older player, they get a young player, and the salary cap doesn't really change.
Doesn't change too much, exactly right. So you're still paying the bulk of it, and that's the policy that the Devils are putting towards these clubs, but it's definitely one to look out for. The last part to this is that Devils want commitments now. So they actually want to get on the front foot and have clubs and players in on this ahead of 2027.
Well, you're going to struggle with players actually going, though. Players still got to want to go as well, don't they?
Yeah.
But then how is Tasmania going to spend that extra money?
So they'll be able to obviously have $5 million across their first 2 years as part of the sign-on bonuses, but they might also front-end those deals. So the players that they get on board, I think they'll all be front-ended. So this is a big part of their strategy, to pay early and then keep some cap space for those younger players.
So, Cal, I presume for the player, they'd want an extra. So it was Darcy Parish, got 2 years ago. He wanted an extra 2 or 3 years on that contract.
Yep.
What, let's say, and let's player X, and let's say Darcy, this
Yep.
player X does their knee this year, and there's a handshake deal done. What happens then?
This is where sometimes the handshakes can break down, can't they?
It can't be a handshake deal. They have to.
But they can't sign
you'd
a
have to wait
contract.
it
AFL rules currently, you can't sign another contract.
No, you can't. And these deals, when money's exchanged, the AFL takes a really close look at them. So this will be a part of the process in part of these deals. But it's not uncommon, as we know, for clubs to pay money for players to play elsewhere.
Would the AFL change the rules for next year for this purpose?
No, I don't think they will. But I think they're across this plan.
This will be done at the end of next year. It's just being flagged now, isn't it, to see if there's appetite from clubs?
Yeah, to see if you can get players on board as well.
But you're saying Tassie want these deals done now?
They want to get into the market as soon as possible, and they've told other clubs that these 6 picks, they're willing to trade them all in year 1 if they can get the players on board.
So that's for this year's draft?
No, for next year, for 2027.
Okay,
but they want the agreements
I don't
in place.
think I think we've got to get past this whole idea of nod's as good as a wink to a blind horse from the AFL. If this is on, it's got to be documented.
Signed contract, I agree.
Yeah, it's got to be documented. Forget all the old oh, we don't want to say this, and we're pretending that we're not going to, the players aren't coming by, and we're going to talk about Lachie Neale later in the show, going to Collingwood during the week. Well, let's just be honest about it. The genie's out of the bottle. All that old stuff is gone. Do it properly, and don't leave any skullduggery around the place.
Yeah, I think this is smart because other clubs have certainly got interested all of a sudden in moving their players and keeping some early picks.
All right, well, I've got another one for you for Tasmania. How about this one? Now, you guys know that I have been promulgating the idea that the Irish team should come into the competition as the 20th team when Tasmania comes in. It's gaining a lot of support. The Irish schools in particular are very, very keen. I went up on the weekend to the AFLW launch on Friday night in Sydney and then to this game at the North Sydney Oval, and it was an absolutely joy. It actually brought great... My heart jumped. And we saw what women's football can look like when we get a good pool of people coming through. The Irish girls were fantastic, and they're playing games of football in Ireland, AFL football now, as the young girls over there realise this is a genuine opportunity to come forward. What I can tell you, though, is while a lot of club officials were at the footy on the weekend and not in Sydney, Tasmania were. And they were there in numbers, and they were there wearing the Tasmanian tracksuits and everything else, and they were hitting the Irish girls with money like there's no tomorrow. And my understanding from within the Irish camp is that Tasmania are trying to make the Tasmanian women's team the Irish team and put them straight into the competition. They like the idea of them wearing the green jumper, that Ireland and the Apple Isle type of routine. Of course, I am now declaring war on them because I want to have this as the 20th team. No, but I'm not fussed either way. But what I can tell you is that this idea is now starting to gain legs because the Irish families back home are saying we would love our daughters to be able to come out to a situation that is set up for Irish girls exclusively, including we need to do some work on the visas, because at the moment they can only play football, they can't work, and there's not enough money there for them. And if they come in for a whole year, there's the boredom because they can't work, etc., etc. So there's a few things to work through there. But Tassie, and I'm being absolutely honest here, we're throwing huge money, sign-on bonuses and long-term contracts at marquee players out of that Irish team to be the faces of the Tasmanian women's team. So bottom line is this. The idea is sound about having an Irish team. It's whether it's in Tasmania. GWS have been mentioned along the journey as well. I still think that Tasmania in its own right and being called, the Irish Celtic or something would be pretty big. And, you might even play 3 games in Melbourne, 3 in Sydney, 3 in Brisbane and 3 in Perth, and have every week or every month a game with an Irish extravaganza around it. It'd be unbelievable. And what it does is it breaks the back. We become an international game, and then we can move on and maybe see what happens with the men as they become better.
I love the proactiveness from Tassie, but it has to be Melbourne or Sydney, doesn't it? Just because of the Irish populations. The reason that game had such a good atmosphere was because of where it was played. Yeah,
but Tassie have decided, right, we don't care. We're going to make... I'll tell you right now, Tasmanians with ambition are dangerous people, OK? I heard that once. Kevin Sheedy said that to me one time.
I'm not coming.
And no, they're going great. Brendan Gale's not going down there for the superannuation. He is there to build something bigger. This is not a vocation. This is an absolute obsession for them now. And I've watched it happen in front of me. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And the fact that they are coming up with these ideas that Kel's putting up, they're going after the women's competition. They are looking everywhere. They've got open eyes to everything, and they're having a crack. So well done to Brendan Gale and all his team and the board down there at Tasmania. Let's get a shovel in the ground and get the stadium up and going, but that's going to happen. And Tasmania, as I said, everyone's second side at the moment, rubbish. They're coming to kill us.
Well,
good on them.
Speaking of Brendan Gale and Grant O'Brien, they actually presented to the AFL Commission today as a bit of a status update on all of those things, Eddie. So I think it's pretty positive.
Well, I didn't tell them about the Irish thing because I spoke to the AFL Commission late tonight and I said, oh, that's news, but good on them. I said, yes, indeed.
Just on Ireland as well, Richmond is heading to Ireland for a recruiting mission over the next couple of weeks as well. So their recruiting manager, Ryan Geeshan, is heading over to Dublin, I believe, and the Tigers will run a combine there as well. So they want to get in on the act too. They've obviously focused their rebuild on the top-end draft picks over the past couple of years, but are keen to add a Category B rookie to that mix. There's also another Irish teenager that AFL clubs are all over already. His name is Kian Raftery. He's 16. He has a number of clubs interested already. Sydney is one they could look to bring him out. Melbourne is looking at him. St Kilda is in that group as well. So clearly, Kobe McDonald as the prodigy. They all want to get in on the next one. Just on Kobe McDonald as well, he arrives on Thursday morning, gets to the St Kilda Footy Club on Friday, attends the game on Sunday night and would be ready to go for next year.
And he's bringing his mum and dad as well.
He absolutely
is. His father, who was a superstar, Kieran McDonald, is coming out. And yeah, I'd keep an eye on him, what he's doing as far as recruiting. If Gubby Allen's got him doing anything, he'll be working full-time down there. So it's all happening and it's great. The Irish experiment, as it was once known as, is now really starting to take off. And what we have to do is make sure that we have a really good cooperation with the GAA and the WGAA so that it is a fair and equitable swap over. All right, let's get back to your mob, Essendon. Okay, let's have a look at this because there's been an exodus out of the... in preparation for whoever comes in, I gather. What's going on here, Kelly?
The sixth name to leave the Essendon football department was today delivered in Cam Roberts. So the forwards coach, he's stepped away from that post. He'll be leaving at the end of this season. He follows, of course, Brad Scott, Dan McPherson, Ben Jacobs, Ben Robbins and Travis Barco. So,
and was he still contracted?
Yeah, my understanding is he was still contracted, so he's stepped away.
So he's not seen out the year?
No, he will see out the rest of this year, the next couple of weeks, and then depart.
Okay, so Dean Solomon, we'll find out later in the week if what Solly's doing.
I'd be shocked if we don't know what Dean Solomon's doing by Thursday morning.
Well, I'd be shocked if they don't know if they want Dean Solomon by now. He's been coaching.
I agree with you, Ed. I agree with you.
Hirdy's there. We know that. We know Mark McVeigh is there. And
Jamie Graham and also Murray Davis. So the formal interviews, the presentations will take place later this week and be done by the end of this week. My understanding still is that by the middle of next week, the plan is to have a new senior coach at the Bombers. James, how are you feeling ahead of the big presentation?
Well, Leigh, I might ask you this.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask you about Leigh Matthews' comments? Have we got him? Let's roll. No, we haven't got him. Well, we know what Leigh said. He said you wouldn't go near Essendon at the moment because he doesn't trust what's going on.
Do you think it's fair?
Do you think? Well, the point that I want to put to you, I want to ask you. He's the director of the Brisbane Lions. He's let's go through Leigh's history.
Well, he beat Essendon in the '83 grand final. He beat Essendon in the 1990 grand final. He beat Essendon in the 2001 grand final.
Good mate to the ex-coach too, I think.
He did whack a few players out at Windy Hill. He broke the the point post.
Point post.
Yeah, I don't think any love lost between Essendon and Leigh Matthews.
And one of his favourite sons was the coach who just got sacked.
That's right. Yeah. Look, I think to me, it's like Leigh Matthews doesn't like Essendon. Says what he says, move on, and let's
what's
build a better
Essendon doing
club.
complaining to the AFL about Leigh's comments? I mean, who cares? Everyone's got opinions, and if they're Leigh's, like, it doesn't matter. Just move on.
We want aggro. This is a tough competition.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got to stop trying to have soft landings for everybody and things like this.
We forgot the 1990 brawl where Gavin Brown hit Kieran Spawn from behind.
But you can't be complaining.
It was king hit by Terry Danaher.
He started it.
Hey?
He started
Settle
it.
down. Then you brought the officials out onto the ground. Poor Gubby Allen. His hand got broken.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, on Sheets' head.
Gubby Allen. There's no sympathy with Gubby.
John Simon was
innocent Gubby Allen.
You're John Simon.
Banned for life.
Anyway, that's what it is. But having said that, can I defend Leigh? Leigh doesn't make this stuff up. He's not a clickbait merchant. He says what he says, and I think it's a fair comment.
But he's entitled to. But just you don't need to complain about someone making an opinion, do you?
Until the Bombers actually make a call, we won't know. Yeah. They've also got some problems on they're getting fined. There's going to be no money for you.
Yeah, they've been fined another $10,000 for this.
He's doing it for free.
He's doing it for free anyway. I fell out of my chair when I heard that. Anyway, move on.
Well, that was the first time I could categorically, without even checking, know that a story was wrong when you said you do something for free.
That's harsh. That's totally uncalled for. I taught your son to kick for free.
Oh, yeah.
Essendon's been fined another $10,000 for its sixth instance of umpire contact. So they got $20,000 fine recently. Another $10,000 they'll have till tomorrow to either accept or challenge that. But I expect they accept that and move on.
More dramas for the Melbourne Football Club. They're having a great year. They're killing them on the ground, not so good in the courts. That's coming up shortly as we pay tribute to a retiring champion of the Richmond Football Club next on Footy Classified. Welcome back to Footy Classified. And Nathan Broad announced today that his career was finishing up at the end of the year. What a superstar he's been for the Richmond Football Club. Picked 67 in the 2017 draft as a mature age player. Played 189 games the fastest player to get to 3 premierships in just 70 games, captained the side in the 2025 Dreamtime match and played for WA in this year's State of Origin, and he was just a fantastic player. So Nathan, on behalf of everybody here at Channel 9 and Footy Classified, congratulations on a magnificent career.
Absolutely sensational.
As a call, I just loved watching him play and the way he went about playing his game of football. A great teammate to have, I'm sure.
Hard to play against him. I helped him win a 2017 grand final. We helped him win that one, but he was incredible. He is an incredible footballer, and it'd be one of those ones, Cal. If I were West Coast, I'd be picking up the phone straight away and just checking in and saying, mate, are you really, really done? Or would you like to come and have a look?
He met with them a few weeks ago, so he's obviously got to the point where he thinks that's the end for his AFL career, but he's heading back to Perth. Richmond's been aware of that for some time now. Obviously, the end of the playing career, but I think he'll get into coaching.
Interesting stuff. All right, let's have a chat about Greg Swann's memo about the tanking coming up. Now, next week, I'm going to wait till next week. I want to put up the counter, if you like, to what we've got as far as the wildcard rounds are concerned. Now, we all love the wildcard rounds. Now, if you've got 3 days to read that, good luck, and a binocular, maybe a telescope to be able to read that. You can
depends what sort of TV you got.
Bottom line is, he said...
but the obligation, I just don't understand why.
He said just play, don't act the goat and drop everybody. He said along the way, people go mad on these things. He did say, we understand if you're resting players.
Well, that last paragraph says that you're legitimately allowed to rest players for reason of fatigue or for injury. And I think the other thing is that people should understand is that as you're getting close to the finals, you will rest some players to make sure your peak performance is during that final series. And that's happened at clubs for years and years. That doesn't mean you're tanking. That's actually preparing to be an elite team at the right time in September. So I think it's a legitimate performance, elite performance achievement.
So let's hear what Bevo had to say last night on Fox Footy.
I think the main consideration for the teams who might be certainties to play a wildcard game going into that round is the fact that the 6 teams above the 7th have all got a week off. So I'm sure within the ranks of the teams that are certainties, you're processing who needs a week off. I'd question how the AFL could question a club, because you're questioning the medical department from a club as well, if that happens.
And Mick Malthouse came out today. Glenn McFarlane spoke to him in the Herald Sun. He said he was horrified that the AFL would put noses in the club's business. It's an infringement of their rights as coaches and match committees to choose the best of their teams. I wouldn't have even bothered reading the memo, says Mick.
We jumping at shadows though. Like when was the last time this happened? Probably Melbourne.
Well, I think but I think the difference there, and I think this is where people have missed the nuance in what Swanee's saying. Tanking is when you go out to deliberately lose. List management in this case is setting yourself up to have the best possibility to win. But when you go out to play with the team you've got, you're still trying to win. So you might lose James Hird and you put a plotter in like me because that's the next person in there. But I'm trying because I want to get there. It's the idea was to stop teams losing deliberately, tanking or laying down so that they could get draft picks.
It's aimed at the bottom four.
That becomes significant because of betting and everything else, but it was the draft picks that was the key.
Yeah, and this is just aimed, that memo is purely aimed for me at the bottom, maybe bottom 3 sides this year, in West Coast, Essendon and Richmond.
Yeah. Well, I'll get to this next week. My biggest problem with where it is at the moment is your team's got some trouble, Adelaide, right? At the moment, they're 4 points ahead of Geelong and 0.4%. Now, Geelong, their last 3 games are Essendon, North Melbourne, Richmond, right? You've got Freo in amongst it, right? That's going to be the difference between finishing in the top 4 and 5th.
But doesn't that happen forever?
It
top
does,
teams play the bottom
but
teams?
what I'm saying is but we are still at the mercy of a bloke in Canada making up the fixture. No, that's not.
I agree.
That sounds like a smart aleck remark, but that's what happens. Who does it in October?
Yeah.
So next week, let me put this up for you, where everybody plays everybody once, and that's where you have your draft. So there's no tanking, and then in the last couple of weeks of the season, the teams who can't play are out of it.
Yeah. I think having where Essendon and Richmond are at the moment, the teams are going to play an increasing percentage. If they're just not in it for the game, you can whack your percentage.
Kel, just quickly, mate. There's more dramas for Melbourne. Legal action tonight Stephen May, the gift that keeps on giving for the Melbourne Football Club, is back for more.
Well, it's been a beautiful year on the field, hasn't it? But so many troubles off it. This continues to relate to the February 5 meeting of player partners, which was recorded at the time. Stephen May has launched legal action, a breach of privacy suit against the Melbourne Football Club and members of that football club, according to reports around Paul Guerra, Alan Richardson, Stephen King as a part of that team that was in that meeting at the time. So this is all the while Paul Guerra is involved in his own legal action against Melbourne after leaving that football club. And Alan Richardson himself as well is set to depart the football club at the end of this season.
Yeah, so he's announced he's gone. So of all the people in that meeting, Stephen King's the only one who's left. And I tell you what, if they're looking to see at GWS, who sent out the photos of Clary doing stuff,
disappointing.
You'd like to know who actually recorded and leaked that.
Yeah, no,
that has caused absolute mayhem, and it's going to be the amount of money that's being spent on lawyers in football at the moment. My goodness.
But and the regret that'd be like Stephen May, 5 years down the track. I'm sure we'll regret this over what 50, 100 grand. I don't know how much it'll be, but it's going to be insignificant. That club that you love and you won a premiership for, I feel like you might regret that down the track when you're not involved in premiership reunions and being able to go into the club.
Yeah, but he might not care. There's no one left. They're all gone.
Yeah, they are. But I don't know. You once a part of a club, you're always a part of that fabric, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably
It's unfortunate for everybody right from the very start, and he would argue that, well, had they not given up his privacy, there wouldn't be a problem, I suppose. So anyway, when the lawyers come in, it gets tough. Speaking of tough, my Pies.
How are you feeling ahead of the Pies game, Ed? Because the injury list has cannoned out to this. We saw the latest setback today. Harry Perriman out for 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring. Jordan De Goey touch and go to face the Eagles.
And Pat Lipinski came out today with a calf injury.
As well.
That's 8 in your best 23 not playing. That you'd have to think that going over to Perth this week, Ed, it's not the certainty it was 5 weeks ago. West Coast have improved, although they didn't win the weekend. And Collingwood, that's hard. I know that the system that Craig McRae's put in place, you and I think so highly of it. Like, the system is just sensational, but you still got to have a quality player on the ground. Yeah,
absolutely do. But and we were chatting about this before. Like, what an opportunity this is for West Coast to go. Maybe we can knock the Pies out of wildcard round. What a huge scalp that would be for them. No, honestly, it would be.
That's my worry. That's my worry. I mean, if you're West Coast...
Their grand final.
This is the grand final. This is the biggest game they've played in since the 2018 grand final against Collingwood. It is. So you ask me how I feel?
Yeah.
Nervous is how I feel.
I'd be nervous.
The boys are going over. They've played great football. They look tired last weekend. They lost a couple more. They lost Howe. They lost Lipinski. They lost Perryman. And now you go against the side that's not too bad.
They've improved.
They're pretty good, West Coast Eagles. They're disappointed from the weekend. They kick straight. They beat Richmond. They go over there. They just set themselves right up for exactly that reason. This is the scalp that could be the start of their renaissance. Hopefully the Pies flog them. But I don't know if that's the case. I really think it's going to be a big game of footy. Who would have thought, and we're talking about, I'll talk about it next week, as I said, with the fixturing, but with this situation that we've got now coming up to the wildcard round, you've got Collingwood and West Coast at this time as a massive game, St Kilda and Carlton as a massive game of football, not counting what we're going to do right next, which is Coach's Corner. Well, so boys, get over and get stuck in.
I've never been barracking for Collingwood and Carlton more. I want to see both of them in a wildcard round.
Yeah, be great stuff. All right, well, when we come back, we're going to have a good look at this one. This is a big game. Brisbane and Hawthorn, and the Blues just going magnificently at the moment.
25 minutes to make a name for yourself like you never made before.
Welcome back to Footy Classified on Coach's Corner this week. We're going to have a look at one of the biggest games of the year, the Brisbane Lions against the Hawthorn Football Club, Rory. And the Brisbane Lions, their defence is shot.
You reckon?
Well, it's all over the place at the moment. I mean, they're still a premiership contender, but have a look at this, the way they're defending. Points against their 13th. Points from turnover, 13th. Points against from D50. That is not a good stat. 17th when it goes from your D50 to your forward 50. D50 into forward 50, transition rate against 17th, that's not a top 4 side.
These are not the numbers that they've had the last couple of years. They have sat much higher than this the last couple of years, and you've got to be sitting higher than this, and they've got to fix this before finals, because Defence wins finals, and they've proven that over the last couple of years.
Well, hopefully they can. But on Saturday against the Blues, they just had no chance. The Blues just cut them up through the middle. Their ball move, which is so exciting. Have a look here. Jagger Smith getting away from Dunkley. Dunkley is one of their best defensive players. He went to outnumber. Dunkley stayed in the middle of the corridor. That is un-Brisbane-like, and look at the result. You've
had a watch on Brisbane mids, and this is the gap that opens up when they get challenged through that part of the ground. And again, that's Will Ashcroft on George Hewitt. George Hill outspread him from D50, so they must get more pressure on the ball because it puts their backs under the pump.
And you see Dunkley chasing here. He is their legitimately defensive mid. But if one or two mids with the quality of football they're playing against at the moment don't defend, it really makes it hard. I think that in the next 2 or 3 weeks, if they can't get their defensive game going, I can't see them winning the premiership.
No, and they're going to have to ramp their pressure, as we said. And we've got a graphic here that'll highlight some of their pressure too. And we want to see it inside their forward 50. And pressure rating outside of 150 metres, their lowest ever at the moment, Brisbane. So they must ramp that up, Hirdy.
Yeah, and that's about contest around the ball and getting their pressure right. And they're playing a team that obviously can slice through you better than anyone. They thought Hawthorn could transition. They thought Carlton could transition the ball. Hawthorn transitioned the ball better than ever. And some of this ball movement versus North Melbourne was elite.
Well, they've got to cover the corridor, Brisbane. But this is what Hawthorn will do. They want to open up the ground. They will get wide. They will create width to open up the corridor and expose. Look at this. I love it. They've actually been one of the worst side from kick-ins, but they're just challenging the last line of defence. But Brisbane are going to have to be all over this because Hawthorn love to expose you through the corridor at the moment, as well as they love to chip mark the ball and build that ball up from D50.
Yeah, you've got Newcombe and Day in the midfield for the Hawks against this Brisbane midfield's elite. The winner of that contest, I think, is going to go a big way ahead. We've been interested to look at Eric Hipwood. He's coming back from knee injury. He's not looking like he's moving as well as he did before, but putting him back. Did that work last week?
No, it didn't. And I was at this game and I was watching Eric from up above, which is easy to watch footy from, but he just looked lost at times. Obviously, a new position. He's under pressure. Carlton put them under the pump too, so Eric Hipwood, if he's going to stay there, he's reliant on that midfield group getting pressure on. But if not, I would have thought Oscar Allen's an easy swap. Oscar Allen's played down back before, whereas Eric, that's a fresh position for him. You don't want him playing that coming into finals.
I can see why Chris Fagan's doing it. You get him in the game, you get him a game, but he just still looks proper. He doesn't look like he's got the real muscle tone around his legs and he's strong enough. Who wins this game?
I think Brisbane at home win this game. They have to bounce back, and they know they've got to be more hungry.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go for Brisbane as well. The other massive game that I think is one going to be on in games of the year, St Kilda v Carlton. Both teams love the run. The St Kilda running power is just absolutely sensational. They almost beat the Swans by their run and carry and the way they went under, but they're up against the Carlton team under Josh Fraser. Look at the record under Fraser. It's remarkable the turnaround he's had, isn't it?
What are the most amazing numbers for you? Like the clearance score differential is huge, and the contested ball, the uncontested possession for me, they've been a great contested side under Vossi, but the uncontested ball, the balance around contest now, that's a bit for me that I've been most impressed with.
The other thing that's really impressed me with Carlton, and you see the connection they're playing for each other, is their forward pressure, their forward tackling, and the way they tackle and pressure in the forward line. We talk about wanting to score from transitions, score from clearance, score from contest, but this repeat pressure in a forward line is a great way of scoring. I just think it shows a team that's on the same page.
Taylor Byrne, Cottrell, Will Hayward, I mean, they're all buying into it now too, and it's not just when it's inside forward 50. They're now emptying out and getting up the ground and putting pressure on and not giving up on the chase, but they're going to have to do that against St Kilda because, as you mentioned before, Saints are going to want to run and carry and use the corridor. They're a very good D50 to forward 50 team, St Kilda.
Question, were you on the bandwagon about the Cripps and Walsh too slow, only inside bandwagon?
No,
I don't think you were. But you've got to admire the fact that now Cripps and Walsh can do what they do best because they've got all these runners on the outside.
Well, I think that's the other part about Josh Fraser. Like, he's simplified the game for everyone. He's gone to Cripper and Walsh. Like, what are you good at? Sammy Walsh has put on an enormous amount of muscle over this pre-season, but he's now a contested beast. And then you've got a young kid in Jagger Smith who can now run and carry and break lines. And they've just found much better balance, but he's simplified that game plan for everyone to allow them to play in their best spots.
From rounds 1 to 8, we all looked at what Cripps and Walsh were not good at. But I think for the last 11 rounds, we said, right, what they are good at, they're good on the inside, let's get it to the outside. St Kilda run off half back. They almost got the Swans. If not for the last quarter, and we'll show that. But their run with Naz, with Hill, and with Hall,
outstanding.
It's very hard to beat. They're a power running team.
Well, and they have to run and carry because they don't have the big tools like Max King up there at the moment. Their forward line's a bit smaller, and that ball needs to come in lower and with this kind of pace on it, Hirdy. So Carlton's, as we mentioned before, Carlton's pressure has got to be out, and it's got to be consistent too, and they've got to push hard back to help out their defenders, and then they can score from there.
St Kilda took on a Swans midfield that was just, it was pretty amazing in terms of Goulden and Heaney and Warner, and they actually beat them at their own game for a half of football. But what cost them was their inside 50s and their inability to hit inside 50s. We're still seeing the run here of the Saints and how good it is at breaking up the team. But I thought after three-quarter time, they just bombed it in. They didn't find enough small targets and weren't smart enough to cut up the Sydney Swans' backs.
And they had the game. They had it right in their grasp, didn't they? And they just couldn't quite convert. And this is, again, a lot of these entries are big bombs inside forward 50, where we want to see the run and carry from St Kilda. Test the tackle out of Carlton. See if they want to be able to stick that tackle, and then lower your eyes going inside forward 50, because these kicks aren't going to get it done, especially with Hirdy playing the type of footy he is as a first-year footballer.
And Wiedering coming back. So if they kick it like that, it's going to be too easy. This is a fascinating game for me. Are you on the Josh Fraser banner? Is it 10 wins to Josh Fraser after this game and a wild card spot up for grabs?
Yeah, I think it is. I think what Josh Fraser and Carlton are doing is far too consistent for St Kilda. St Kilda have shown glimpses of it for 2-3 quarters, but what Carlton did on the weekend was so impressive. I'm all on. I'm on the bandwagon. I want Carlton to make finals. I want to see him play a wild card round against Eddie's mob and light up the MCG.
So you're on the Naz. You're on the Carlton train.
Yep.
I'm on the Naz train. I'm going to go to the Saints. Carlton for me, St Kilda, Hawthorn for both of us, Ed.
All right, good on you, boys, and also a deeper sympathy to Josh Fraser on the passing last Thursday of his father, who was a great man, Bill, who I knew very, very well. Also this weekend, as we think about fallen friends of ours, the great Danny Frawley. Spud's game is on this week, and it's a huge match. Do you know that so far 30,000 people across Australia have been involved in the mental health fitness programs provided by Spud's game, and it's on its 6th year now. The Frawley family, heavily involved in it. So good luck to everybody. And as you can see, there's a donate QR code there on the screen. So take a snapshot of that if you can and donate to what is an amazing cause. And it's great to see that football coming together for mental health. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more Footy Classified right after this, thanks to Hyundai and Fiji Airways. Let's move on. Hey, thanks to can I tell you about Fiji? Fiji Airways. Paul Scarr and the team, absolutely magnificent. This is the prize that's up for grab for the Player of the Year who plays the game of the year. And this is Fiji Airways Performance of the Year prize. 2 business class return flights with Fiji Airways to Fiji, then on to North America, 5 nights accommodation at the Nanaku Resort. And Fiji Airways, they are the happiest people in the sky, look after you beautifully. Ripping planes, you can go ski G as well, fly into Japan and ski, fly into Vancouver, go up to Big White and go to these other places, Banff and everywhere else.
Well, you can absolutely just go and surf in Fiji. You find me surfing on one of the islands.
No, you do that on the way back.
Yeah,
I tried to ring Dermot this morning and his phone was on international dial. Is that where he's gone?
He's in Fiji.
Is he? I don't know where he is, but I haven't been able to find him for a week.
Wouldn't be the first time I've been able to find him for a week either. But it's been voted, by the way, world-class airline, best food and beverage in the South Pacific by Apex. Fiji Airways, your holiday starts before you even land. It is absolutely fantastic. Who is your nomination, Twomey?
It's Ollie Dempsey this week, Ed. He was outstanding last week against your Pies. 29 touches, 10 marks, does those type of things every single week. 2 goals for him as well. It was the 8th time this year he's kicked multiple goals, so putting a pretty good case forward to be an All-Australian, at least squad member, maybe even in the team. At least a squad member. Voted best on ground by Chris Scott and Craig McRae. Has to be the best player in it.
He should have been All-Australian last year on the wing. No, backmen's win premiership, backmen's win game, defence wins. Harry Dean's going to be the NAB rising star for me, and he was outstanding on the weekend in this performance. Held Logan Morris to 1 goal, or no, to 1 touch or something, I think, but he kicked the goal himself. It is one of the greatest goals I've seen live all season. The crowd erupted. It sounded like there was 50,000 people in there. It was one of the greatest moments I've seen, and he deserves to be the winner.
Yeah, well, good honest player and defender, and you've got a winger, but this is a forward, a small forward. It's taken me a while to get on the Wizard train, purely because he plays for Hawthorn, but he is an absolute star. 5 goals on the weekend from 10 possessions, from 10 disposals, hit 7 score involvements, 6 tackles. His pressure was enormous, and his goal kicking. If this bloke doesn't excite you when you turn the TV on, no one will.
He can play, there's no doubt about that. Well, here he is, as usual, old Father Time. Just did it again and again and again. Maxi gone. How about this week against Luke Jackson? Whoever wins that battle is the All-Australian ruckman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Both.
They're both
Great
in.
contest.
Yeah, they're both in, but one's going to be first ruck.
That's true.
You don't want to be sitting on the bench or, resting in the back pocket. And Big Maxi is putting his hand up, literally, both of them in that case, to show that he is still one of the premier players in the competition.
Who wins?
Who wins, yeah.
Who wins what? This?
Yeah.
I think we give it to Rory.
Yeah,
I think we get some
Harry
fresh
Dean.
blood. Harry Dean.
I'm nervous he won't win the Rising Star.
Do you have him
actually.
ahead of the Rising Star, ahead of Jagger?
I do. As I said before, defence wins premierships and games, so I value that position. I'm not sure if the whole industry values defensive roles like that. Some of his scalps this year have been incredible, so I think he'd be a
You're
worthy
an
winner.
unaccountable mid for your first 8 years. How can you say that
I was always accountable.
I don't know about
and Harry Dean needs to be in some black boots. He plays such hard footy.
He's a good man. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, it's news or noise, and we've got some interesting stuff to get through here. That's next on Footy Classified.
I sit there eating party pies and putting on headphones listening to the Fox studio to get my insights to the game.
They're nuffies, but that's okay. Interesting that Josh has had a chance to watch it, I haven't, so not as busy as what I have.
You guys and girls are the ones who the AFL are paranoid about.
No, but I feel like I've answered it 3 times.
Are we clear? Are we clear? Are we clear? Let's be clear.
Time for news or noise.
So tell me, they're all going mad.
You should
Do
just
you want to
play-
get back into this, Steve?
I just want to play that 3 minutes of that. It's hilarious.
It's great, isn't it?
We'll get to Cranky Ross in a second. It's time for news or noise thanks to Hyundai and the all-new Alexio EV, born from 35 years of EV innovation and one of the best all-round SUVs on the market today.
50% of cars sold at the moment are EVs. So why not go to somebody who's been doing it for 35 years to get the best one at Hyundai?
They know their stuff, as does Rory. You're off first, Rory. Cranky Ross is deflecting too much. News or noise?
No, that's noise. Oh, we wouldn't have a little highlights package just then without Ross doing what he does best. But I'm always a believer. If you ask silly questions, you get silly answers, right? So, and I love what Ross does in the
What
press
was silly
conference.
about the question there?
Well, of course you have stern conversations, and it's just a conversation with the player. So.
I reckon it's entertaining.
I completely agree. It's
As long
great
as
for
he's
the
not
game.
disrespectful, which he normally
Borderline?
not. No, normally not. Just keep it going.
Yeah, that's why I said it was noise.
Party pies do get eaten in that press box as well a little bit. Hirdy, Bevo's flood was a defeatist attitude. News or noise?
That is noise. I like what he did because he's got a defence that is not rock solid. There's a bit young and behind the ball, so I like that he put some numbers behind the ball against the best team in the comp and, not defeatist at all, just trying to win a game.
Eddie, Lockie Neal shouldn't have toured the Pies facilities the day before the game. News or noise?
Shouldn't have got out. And I don't like people going to other teams' facilities while they're still wearing the Guernsey. Don't like it at all, I must admit. But that's what it's doing. And, there's a bit of a love in there. I don't know what you need to go and see. Get a video. But
I think there was an element
on
of a
YouTube.
medical as well. I think
there's a medical
stuff
all
involved.
that stuff. But yes, so all that type of thing. But I'd rather it stay in-house. But if he ends up at Collingwood, it's a great idea and well done.
And it was that sealed the deal. Hey, Rory, the Thursday night entrances were a flop. News or noise?
No, I'd say noise. Yeah, I wasn't
Play
there.
the song.
Eddie reckons they should have played a song. I'm all up for playing a song. I'm not necessarily massive on playing the club song. Like, if you look at the best part of the Port's pre-game is never tear us apart, right? And that's coming from an Adelaide footballer saying that. So as long as it's a song that a crowd buys into, I'm all for it. And I actually love that two clubs tried something different for once. Whether it landed or not,
Look,
they tried something
I
new.
loved a lot of it, but I just want to hear the song. Right? It gets me going. It starts me off. It's just, you got to hear it. It's like Pavlov's dog. I'm ready to go. The fact that they didn't sing it at the end of the night is what really
That's
got me.
what
That hurts.
Yeah.
Ed,
Yes.
is history about to repeat at Carlton? News or noise?
Yes, I'm going to throw this up because this has been sort of bouncing around in my brain for a while. Go back to 1978.
Wow.
And Ian Thorogood got sacked going into the season. Ian Stewart, the triple Brownlow medalist, lasted 3 games. Sergio Silvani jumped in, and then a reluctant Alex Jesaulenko, who reminds me a little bit of the Josh Fraser situation where he turned it around and they got from being second last into the finals and got to a first semi-final. They've got the vision here of Collingwood versus, this was one of the all-time greats. See, Katoggio caught one there from Phil Carman, and in that went. Now, I was actually standing 10 metres away in the look at Harms going berserk there, throwing lefts and rights. Look at this one. Whoa, Renee kick to Swan Mackay, and then Dennis Collins gets fixed up by Rod
Wow.
Oborne. Bang, down he goes. And this was on for young and old. There, look
No
at that.
reports on the day either.
Twiggy
No
done.
reports. Play on.
No reports.
Well, actually, Phil Carman did, and he got
Played in the
off.
wrong era.
That was the night that they stole my beanie off my head when I was a little boy in the train.
really?
I never forgot them. But I tell you what, the other stat was there. They won 3 of the next 4 premierships.
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen.
No, definitely not a Carlton.
But there is one other thing.
You're selling hope to Carlton fans.
They've got one other thing in common there that just worries me a little bit. Do you know what the connection between Jezza and Josh Fraser is?
Number 25?
Number 25.
25, yes.
Both wore 25.
Very good, Hirdy. Hirdy, speaking of big, powerful forwards like Jezza was, Patrick Voss needs to leave his theatrics at home.
No,
Use a noise.
That is noise again. I like the way. I mean, look, he gets free kicks against for that. I just think what Patrick Voss does brings energy to his team. He's created a career for himself. He's a wonderful, reliable player. Does he go over the top sometimes? Yes, probably. Give away a few free kicks, but look, I don't mind it.
If you look at most premiership sides, they've always got someone that played on the edge, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and he plays on the edge, and he's had to do that. I mean, he came off, got delisted by Essendon, went and created his career. I've got nothing but admiration for a guy who goes on a SSP, I think he went over to Perth on, and is one of the best forward lines in the competition, or is in the best forward line in the competition.
By the way, Alex Jesaulenko, for all the raps he's had, is still one of the most underestimated players, I reckon. He would have been unbelievable today. Just what a player. Anyway, now, what's coming up on Saturday is Fremantle at the Docklands for the Melbourne Football Club and the Pink Lady match. Now, I can't believe it's 22 years ago that we actually launched this on the Footy Show. And the Melbourne Football Club have done an amazing job with this supporting women. $20,000 worth of donation going in from Zurich Insurance. Thank you for that, Zurich Insurance. And they're also going to auction off the warm-up Guernseys and things. So well done to the Pink Lady looking after our sisters particularly, but there are also men who get breast cancer, but predominantly it's a female disease. But well done to everybody involved in the Pink Lady Day, which is on Saturday. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Gil McLaughlin's Tab Top 3 coming up right after this on Footy Classified. Let's wrap up Footy Classified tonight. Cal Twomey, Tab Top 3. What do you got?
Well, I said Dan McStay kick a bag last week, and he did. So Ed Richards is in for a certainty. 30-2 on Thursday night.
Rory?
Yeah, we've got Cooper Trembath. I loved his game on the weekend. He kicked 3 goals down there at Tassie, and I think he's going to bag out on 5 against the Dogs, and North will win.
Well, the Bulldogs are going to have a great night if you've gone for what you have, and I've gone the Bont 30-3. There's 60 possessions and 5 goals for their key midfielders. It's 30-3 for
They've got
the
no
Bont.
forwards, so
they're going to have to. But yeah, good luck.
Good luck. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you.
Big week ahead for you, and we wish you well. We do.
Thank you very much.
If you don't get it, we're happy because we want you here on Footy Classified. But good luck. It's going to be interesting. It's all eyes are going to be on the Bombers over the next week. No doubt about that. Rory, good on you, buddy. As always, thank you for coming over from Adelaide.
Great to see you, Ed. Good luck to the Pies against West Coast.
It's going to be a big game.
Huge.
There's a knot in my stomach already. Cal, good on you, buddy.
See you next week, Ed.
Good on you, bud. Thanks, mate. And great stuff on all the news from Tasmania and everything else you had tonight. Breaking all the stories. We'll follow you tomorrow on afl.com.au. Cal Twomey. This has been Footy Classified. Good on you, everybody. Next week, we're getting into the home stretch of the AFL season. Good night.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.